although I would really like to see Marcus Hanneman get some time, I have this funny suspicion we're just going to see Tim Howard again.
I expect Howard to start. I would like to see Hanneman start, or at least get the second half.
Yeah,
because it's not a meaningful game. Go ahead and get what should be your second in-depth goalkeeper some playing time, just in case the unexpected will happen.
To be honest with you, though, I don't think that Bob Bradley even considers Hanneman his second keeper. I still think he's thinking Guzan's his second keeper. It's not that Guzan played horribly against the Czech Republic. It's just that he didn't do anything spectacular. I did notice during the Turkey game that Turkey did not employ the now common strategy used by all EPL teams on Howard. That is placing your biggest, the guy with the biggest ass on the team in front of Howard so he can't maneuver on set pieces and corners. And I think that allowed Howard to move much more freely on set pieces than he had in other games in the EPL.
Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe not all the teams have realized how to take Howard out of the game.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, it didn't seem like Turkey did their homework. Let's move to the defense, and I'm going to just give you my back four for the next game. I think Bob Bradley's going to try to go with what he would consider his starting back four for this one. So I think we're going to see Bocanegra on the left, Gooch and Demerit in the middle, who had great chemistry in that Turkey game in the second half, and then Cherundolo, who was a veteran, who showed just some real smart play. Not that Spector, you can blame all the mistakes that happened during that game where we got scored on by Turkey on Spector, but it wasn't all his fault. Somebody should have been back to cover his ass when he made the run down the middle, but for the most part, Cherundolo, I just feel more comfortable with Cherundolo right now.
I mean, Cherundolo had a great game with against Czech, and then Spector, you know, he's I mean, outside the goal that everybody was blaming on him, I mean, he did struggle throughout the game against Turkey. They ran him up and down that field. I mean, they found that weak spot. You know, they found it wasn't going to be Boca. They knew it wasn't going to be up the middle.
Yep.
So they hit Spector's side every single time they attacked.
Yeah, Turan was just driving Spector crazy on that side. And, you know, it really comes down to, well, aren't we going to miss Spector's crossing? And I have to say that Dolo's crossing during the game while he was in there was damn good. And even Bocanegra's crossing from the left side with his weaker left foot wasn't that bad. And maybe we'll see Goodson come in at halftime, or maybe even Goodson will start and they'll slot in Demerit or Gooch later on. But I think maybe we'll see a little bit of Goodson, and they'll probably even throw Demerit in there before it's all said and done. So let's move to the midfield. We saw a lot of different midfield lineups last game, but here's who I think is going to start the Australian game, as long as the idea here is that we're going to try to start our actual starting lineup against Australia, just so we can see what that looks like. I'm going to go, of course, I'm going to have Dempsey move back to his wing position. I'm going to start Bradley and Adu in the middle, although I would love to see Torres, and then Donovan out wide as well on the other wing. And he almost had carte blanche in the second half to move wherever the hell he wanted in the last game, but I think that's probably what we're going to see in the middle four.
Yeah, no, Bob's going to go. Since we're playing a similar team to England, Bob's going to go with his ideal midfield to play England. Yeah. And it's going to be more of a defensive-minded center mid with Edu and with Michael Bradley. And we'll see where it goes from there. Torres might come in at the second half just to see how he does with the more physical team. And I mean, he came off of an amazing game against Turkey.
I thought so.
Hell, he turned you into a fan.
I know, and here's the guy who wrote all these, it wasn't a nasty article about Torres. It was just my belief that Bradley didn't know how to use Torres. He kept playing him on the wing, he kept playing him, and now Torres gets to play where he's supposed to play. He's in that pocket in the middle, and in the second half, you just noticed that Michael Bradley had the freedom to move a lot more because there was somebody reliable behind him who could distribute the ball, because Clark did a crappy job at that.
Well, what's funny is after the Dutch game back in March, everybody was hounding on Bradley, saying, "Oh, he's using Torres incorrectly. Torres is supposed to have limited defensive responsibility. He's supposed to be playing up top and distributing from there, blah blah blah." But then Torres came in and immediately said, Bradley played me correctly. I just had an off game. I need to figure out how to adapt my game to the pace of international soccer. Yep. So, I mean, and he clearly has from the Dutch game where he wasn't impressive, and in fact, some people were questioning whether or not he'd even be included.
Yep.
To playing in a game where he came out, flat out, dominated, and in fact made the difference for the U.S. team, completely changed how we attacked the game, and I think he made all the difference, and that's the reason why we ended up winning 2-1.
I'm a huge Torres fan now. I mean, he just won me over in that game. Even people who didn't know anything about soccer before watching that knew he kept moving to the open space, and on defense, he was always in the right place. His positioning was impeccable. His defense was aggressive, and think a small guy can't play defense, he can't tackle. Wrong. This
if
kid,
anything, he always got a foot in there just to touch it away.
Yep.
Prevent the shot from happening.
I thought he was great. I think he's the future of American soccer, to be honest with you, and I couldn't have imagined myself saying that a year or 2 years ago. On the offensive end, I just mentioned moving Dempsey back to left midfield. Why? Why did I say that? Because during the game when he moved back to left midfield, do you notice the goal that he got is when he does his typical sneaking towards the middle thing from his left midfield spot, where Donovan got him the ball and he scored. And I like that about Dempsey. He is one of those sneaky little guys that will get in and suddenly become a pseudo striker from the left midfield position. So I'm really looking for him to play that. And the only reason I say that is because I feel so comfortable now, and I can't believe I'm saying this either, with Finley and Altidore starting with the speed and then the strength of Altidore.
I'm not overly sold with Finley. I mean, I know he had an amazing game, and I gave him credit. I ate my own words about Finley on the Turkey game, but I'm not completely sold. I have a feeling we might see somebody like Buttle, Josie, or even I want to see more of a Hercules and Josie play.
Yeah, I think you might even see that as a starting lineup, Gomez and Altidore together at the beginning.
But since Finley's not quite international ability at the moment, I mean, I know he had an amazing game, but I still don't think his decision making overall is up to the international standard. I think we're gonna see him come in as a late second half sub, not even a late second half sub, but just like a second half sub to really change the game, how it's running. All of a sudden, you've got this speedy forward who can cause problems, and we saw it against Turkey. He even can distribute pretty well too. That ball he played to Landon over top the defense
was great. Yeah,
it was perfectly placed, and I don't see him as a starter.
Led to a goal too.
It did. It led to the first goal. Yeah, but I don't see him as a starter. I see him as a second half sub. Mm-hmm. Basically coming in to change the pace of the game and to put the defense on their heels.
Well, two things before I move on to the guys we got to look out for Australia. I just wanted to mention one. Let's not forget about how well Landon Donovan played in the second half. He just totally woke up there, and it really was because the distribution of the ball was so much better with Torres than it was with Bradley Clark. It was much better with Bradley Torres. Number two, hello folks, the formation changed. I don't care what ESPN said at the beginning of the game. It was a 4-4-1-1, which quickly changed to a 4-4-2 once the game started. Maybe even 10 minutes into the game, Dempsey was playing parallel with Josie up top as a striker-striker combination. I'm going to just list a couple folks that in the Australia game we need to keep an eyeball on. Mark Schwarzer, of course, plays goalie for Fulham, and if you've been following Fulham at all, you know how good he is. You've got Lucas Neal, who played years in the EPL, now plays for Galatasaray. That's a guy on the defense to look for. But other than that, the defense is not that strong. Their strength is their midfield with Brent Emerton, who plays for Blackburn Rovers, Mark Bresciano for Palermo in Italy, Grella, who plays for Blackburn as well, Tim Cahill, who we all know from Everton, is always a threat. He could even play striker. Richard Garcia from Hull City, also same thing, could play striker up there with a guy everybody knows, Harry Kuehl. So those are the guys that we need to look out for going into the game versus Australia. And we're about out of time. We will see you next time on the OLS Vidcast.